Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our City Council meeting. Today is Monday, October 18th, 2021. It's approximately 1 p.m. Before we have our Pledge of Allegiance, I'm going to ask you if you please rise for a brief moment of silence as we reflect back on the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces as they protect our interests around the globe, as well as the courageous men and women of the Las Cruces Police Department and Las Cruces Fire Department as they keep our city safe 24/7, 365. And also for American hero who passed away in the last 24 hours, four-star general, former Secretary of State, General Colin Powell. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve, join me in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we're going to have our Pet of the Week by Jennifer Martinez from our Communications Office. She did such a good job last time. She was invited back.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I am Jennifer Martinez with the City's Communications Office, and today I would like to introduce you to our cat and dog of the week, and I will start with our cat, Dorian. Dorian is a 4-year-old handsome gray tabby. He loves to get attention, and if you get to be the lucky one to take him home, he hopes that you will treat him like a spoiled prince. And then we have Alec. Alec is a 2-year-old medium-sized dog who is also very handsome, and he is actually a friendly guy who likes to go on long walks, and that's good because the ASCMV says he can be a little bit of a food hog. He is easily entertained, which can help keep him away from his friends' food bowls. You can adopt either Dorian or Alec. Maybe your home needs both pets. First, you'll need to go to the Animal Services website, ascmv.org, look up adoptable cats and dogs and find their pet numbers, and then make a phone call to 382-0018 to set up an appointment to meet one of these furry friends. You can also visit some of the pet options at the farmers market this weekend downtown from 9 a.m. till noon. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I believe Dr. Payadas or Cindy Quinlan will be doing the jobs of the week.
Okay, I can't find it. Where are you, Francisco?
Apologies, Mr. Mayor. I don't see the jobs of the week loaded. Would you mind if I go over them from our
Sure,
computer?
of course, absolutely.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cindy Quillen. I'm with the New Mexico Workforce Connections Office, and I have your jobs of the week for today. First of all, we have a vehicle service worker. This position is through the City of Las Cruces, and this position closes on October the 27th. Next, we have a position as a plumber with Affordable Plumbing. This position will close on November the 5th of 2021. They're also looking for a CDL Class A truck drivers with Wild West Express. There are currently 10 positions available, and these positions will be closing on November the 6th. Next is a Medical Management Specialist 1 with Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Mexico. This position will be closing on January 10th, 2022, and also a Director of Pharmacy with Comprehensive Pharmacy Services. This position also closes on January 11th, 2022. We'd just like to let everyone know that the Las Cruces Job Fair is having a job fair on November the 4th, which is a Thursday, at the Las Cruces Convention Center from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. But for a full list of how employers can register for the job fair and a full list of jobs, internships, and volunteer opportunities, you can visit our website at www.employeenm.com or at www.governmentjobs.com/careers/Las Cruces. Our local New Mexico Workforce Connections office is open to the public and for walk-ins. and we are located at 226 South Alameda Boulevard, Las Cruces, 88005, and our phone number is 575-524-6250. Thank you, everyone, and have a great week.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for doing this, and especially impromptu information. So as Councilor Abeyta-Stuve is going to make her way down to do the proclamations, I just want to recognize a couple people. So I see our Las Cruces Public Schools Superintendent, Mr. Ralph Ramos. Thank you for joining us. As well as Mayor Pro Tem Emeritus Dolores Archuleta. Thank you for doing all that you do. You know, you never stopped working after you retired. You just kept doing, and I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first proclamation is going to be presented to Enrique Garcia, if you're available.
He's on his way in.
Okay, then.
I'm Ashley with the Boys and Girls Club. I helped set it up, so
Okay.
we were gonna take it.
Do you want me to wait? I have three more, so
Oh,
let
yeah.
me wait so
If
he
you
can
don't
come in.
mind.
Not a problem. Then our next one will be presented to Everett Smith. Okay. Then seeing none, our proclamation. Whereas Richard Weaver, owner of Weaver's Welding, wanted an event to bring young people and authority figures together in a friendly, non-threatening atmosphere. And whereas he and many friends of the community sponsored the first Great Pumpkin Candy Drop in 2006. And whereas he informed Friends of the Community, a 501c3 organization, and whereas he rented Mog Park, solicited donations of cash and/or candy, and invited kids, young and old, and whereas he also invited the Las Cruces Police Department, Las Cruces Fire Department, Doña Ana County Sheriff's Posse, public officials, and everyone who represented authority, and whereas he has grown the candy drop to include all 4 fields at Park with music, events, and booths. His only mandate is that everything is free. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim Sunday, October 31st, 2021, as the Friends of the Community Candy Drop Day, and encourage everyone to support Friends of the Community and help them provide a safe, fun event for young people, signed by Mayor Ken Miyagashima and attested by our City Clerk, Christina Rivera. Thank you. Has he come in? He's here? Okay. Then our next one will be presented to Enrique Garcia. Come on down. You can come up by me.
I'm sorry?
You
That
can
one?
come up by me.
Oh,
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Whereas the people of the City of Las Cruces, New Mexico stand firmly committed to quality after-school programs and opportunities because they provide a safe, challenging, and engaging learning experience that help children develop social, emotional, physical, and academic skills, support working families by ensuring children are safe and productive when they are not at school, build stronger communities, and promote positive relationships by involving students, parents, business leaders, and adult volunteers in the lives of young people, engage families, schools, and community partners in advancing youth welfare, and offer young people many demonstrative positive benefits, particularly in the academic studies, social and emotional health, and their overall physical well-being. And whereas Las Cruces after-school programs have responded to the COVID-19 crisis with innovative virtual programming to keep kids engaged and healthy, and now are faced with the challenge of helping kids adjust to the return to in-person learning and social interactions that are crucial to their development. And whereas the City of Las Cruces is honored to be the home of several community organizations who provide leadership in youth health and education and believe quality after-school programs help our children become successful adults, including the City of Las Cruces Parks and Recreation Department, the NMSU STEM Outreach Center, and the Boys and Girls Club of Las Cruces. And whereas Studies show that young people who participate in after-school programs perform better in their school, develop leadership skills, and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors like smoking, drinking, or sexual activity compared to their peers. And whereas Lights On After School, the national celebration of after-school programs, will be held this year on October 28, 2021, to promote the importance of quality after-school programs in the lives of children, families, and communities. And whereas the City of Las Cruces is committed to the health and safety of all young people and to providing expanded learning opportunities to help close the achievement gap exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic to better prepare young people for future success. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor of City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim Thursday, October 28, 2021 as Lights On After School Day, and enthusiastically endorse innovative after-school programs and activities that ensure that our lights stay on and the doors stay open for all children after school. Signed by Mayor Ken Miyagishima and attested by Christina Rivera, City Clerk.
Thank you.
City Mayor, everybody in council, thank you so much. I will, please, Ashley, would you join me? I'm honored and we're flattered that this is recognized. In Las Cruces, we coordinate a regional effort, but we can do it without our members and our partners, like Ashley, the CEO of Boys and Girls Club in Las Cruces, which is who have the boots on the ground. We're just here to provide some coordination support and some capacity building opportunities to increase the quality of their work, but the work can be done without the hands and the boots on the ground. Ashley, would you mind?
Thank you. Some of you guys are probably like sick of hearing from me, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help the kids and make sure that the time that they spend out of school is also productive and safe, and that's all kids, from kindergarten all the way through those risky years as teenagers. And, you know, they spend more time out of school than they do in school. So it's really us who try to fill that gap, and we couldn't do that without the city's partnership and support as well. So thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next proclamation will be presented to Katrina Holtram Lopez. Our proclamation. Whereas there are 1.3 million individuals living in 15,600 nursing homes and over 800,000 individuals living in 28,900 assisted living and residential care facilities in the United States. And whereas the National Nursing Home Reform Act of 1987 guarantees residents in their individual rights in order to promote and maintain their dignity and autonomy. And whereas all residents should be aware of their rights so that they may be empowered to live with dignity and self-determination. And whereas we wish to honor and celebrate these citizens, to recognize their rich individuality, and to reaffirm their right to vote, to participate politically, including the right to have a say in their care. And whereas individuals, the groups across the country will be celebrating Residents' Rights Month with the theme Stand for Quality, to emphasize the importance of quality in all aspects of residents' experiences: quality care, quality of life, quality services, and quality choices. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim month of October 2021 as National Long-Term Care Residents' Rights Month, signed by Mayor Ken Miyagishima and attested by Christina Rivera, our City Clerk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. It's really important that this honor is not for me. This honor is for all of the residents that have been in long-term care facilities and who we've had to be the voice for Not only has it been a privilege, but then during the time of COVID when they couldn't see their parent or their loved ones, it has been really hard. So this is not just a proclamation that recognizes the residents, and this by no means recognizes me, although I'm honored to receive this on behalf of the Ombudsman Program. This is really a call to action for more volunteers. We have over 300 long-term care facilities around the state, and yet I only have 50 volunteers. We need more to be the voice of people who cannot speak for themselves. And I just applaud this council for recognizing this and all the work that you did during COVID and for our seniors. I have a couple of people. I've got a volunteer here and a regional coordinator. Please stand up. Thank you for your time and service. And again, thank you for honoring the residents in long-term care.
And our last proclamation will go to Angie Orozco. Proclamation. Whereas the COVID-19 crisis has impacted all New Mexicans in some manner, citizens with chronic obstructive lung disease or disorders such as chronic bronchitis, asthma, emphysema, and many other serious lung diseases of known and unknown causes, as well as cardiovascular disease, metabolic conditions, have compromised a large portion of those hospitalized and deaths. And whereas many of these disorders are presently incurable, those afflicted with COVID-19 are hospitalized and often require mechanical ventilation, oxygen, and aerosolized medication to treat their condition, which is designed to save lives of our citizens with incapacitating or life-threatening lung diseases. And whereas the treatment and rehabilitation of patients with incapacitating or life-threatening lung diseases, respiratory care practitioners play a crucial role daily each year. And whereas experts in mechanical ventilation and aerosolized medicine have been continuously needed during this pandemic, respiratory care practitioners are those healthcare providers who have been on the front lines serving our state during this pandemic. And whereas our respiratory care practitioners serving on the front lines have been staring in the face of COVID-19 crisis, working tirelessly for their patients as they treat and care for persons young and old, from the premature infant and child with cystic fibrosis or asthma to an elderly patient with advanced emphysema and cardiovascular diseases, and those with metabolic conditions. And whereas respiratory care practitioners apply his or her skills and knowledge to relieve distressing symptoms, restore normal lung capacity, or help the patient conserve and make the best use of his or her remaining lung function. The skills respiratory care practitioners possess can lead to a complete recovery, prolonged life, or make the patient's existence more comfortable. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2021 as Respiratory Care Practitioners Month and command all observance to its citizens. Signed by Mayor Ken Miyagishima and attested by Christine Rivera, City Clerk.
I just want to take a moment to thank the mayor, council, Annette, who put this together, helped me put it together so quickly. We really do appreciate my fellow respiratory therapists. It is a field that we do so much in, and it's kind of sad we get so little recognition. So this is more for my fellow respiratory therapists. I want to bring that recognition to them, not only on the city level, but we also did it as a state level to kind of just bring awareness to all healthcare providers. You know, we thank the city of Las Cruces for all their support and everyone. So this goes to all of them.
Okay, so now we're going to recognize and bring up our Veterans Parade Committee. So if you want to join me up here, please. So if you want to stand to my right. So every year we have our Veterans Parade. It's going to be November 6th at 11 o'clock? 11 o'clock. So you want to come on this side? Oh, you're going to, okay. So this is really a great event. It gets it has a chance to show the members of the public and the entire city and county how much our veterans mean to us. And so that's really a great opportunity. And I was asking Ifo, this will be his first time that he has a chance to see it. So it's really a big deal. And so every year they have a poster contest, and they invite those to participate. And so we're here to give away some awards. And so we have here Mr. J.R. Turner, who's retired from the state, but was also when you ran into a problem with your benefits, J.R. took care of it. And earlier I mentioned Mayor Pro Tem Emeritus Archuleta, who after she retired in, let's see, when was it, 2009, I asked her, I said, can you still help with the veterans? She says, absolutely. And so she's been doing it unpaid. So that's good. So we appreciate all you do as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Bill, and he's got the...
Thank you. If I could get the top 5 placers to come forward, please. Come on up. So we want Faith right here. There we go. Right next to him. Okay. Sadie. Then Isabel. Mayor Miyagishima, City Council members, Las Cruces Public Schools Superintendent Ramos, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Bill Hawkins, the committee chair for the Veterans Day Parade, which will take place on Saturday, November 6th at 11 a.m. Throughout the years, with the support of the City of Las Cruces, we have published a poster to announce the date, time, and location of the parade. After years of utilizing the artwork provided by Department of Veterans Affairs, we decided to hold a contest with the middle school and high school students of Las Cruces to produce a more personalized announcement for our parade, as well as to encourage our local youth to learn about the role of our local veterans in the history of our country. Our first such contest was in 2015. The response was so positive that we decided to make this an annual event. This year our theme was honoring Korean War-era veterans, and today's presentation is to announce the top 6 local artists and reward them for their efforts. We judged approximately 150 submissions from Camino Real, Lynn, Mesilla Valley Leadership Academy, Picacho, Vista, and White Sands Middle Schools. After careful consideration, the top 6 artists are, in alphabetical order, Faith Contreras, Isabel De La Rata, Jose Ortega Dominguez, Sadie Reynolds, Isabel Sanchez, and Lexi Sanchez. Jose Dominguez is in the top 6, but was not able to participate in today's ceremony. Could we please give them a round of applause for their outstanding effort? Now for the awards. There are 2 honorable mention artists who will receive a $10 prize for their efforts. The first, Faith Contreras, Mesa Middle School. Faith, just step forward. Her poster. Her poster. You can just stay back here. Yeah, and that's hers. She can keep that. Okay, the next honorable mention artist was Lexi Sanchez from Vista Middle School. Okay, third place, receiving a $20 prize, is Isabel Sanchez from Vista Middle School. Okay. Second place, who is receiving a $30 prize, is Sadie Reynolds from Camino Real Middle School. And the winner of the 2021 Veterans Parade Poster Contest is Isabel De La Rata, an 8th grader in Ms. Pinedo's class at White Sands Missile Range Middle School. She is receiving a $40 prize, her framed artwork, and she will also have the opportunity to be in the parade in recognition of her contribution to the parade. Let's give them all one big round of applause.
Can we take, just for, so that we can take pictures? Just 1 second.
I'm almost done. I would like to thank the administrators and teachers from the middle schools that participated in this year's contest. Dolores Archuleta, J.R. Turner, Mike Cano, Larry Orvis, and Eric Enriquez, who are members of the Veterans Parade Committee, and Mayor Miyagishima and the Las Cruces City Council for allowing us to recognize these local artists. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and please join us on November 6th for the 2021 Veterans Day Parade. It promises to be a great event in honoring our local veterans. Thank you.
Just a couple things before we go. I'd like to first also recognize our Assistant City Manager, Eric Enriquez. He's my liaison to the Veterans Committee, as well as making this happen, the Veterans Parade. Also, I just want to, for the staff that's here that are veterans, if you just please stand. We want to recognize you all and thank you. I know Larry's a veteran here. Yeah. All right. And then the rest of you that were veterans, please stand as well. You can stand again if you want. Thank you very much for all you do. Thank you for your service to our country. We wouldn't have the great things that we have here today without each and every one of you. So come out to the parade. This is a time to let our veterans know how much we appreciate them and their families. Families have challenges as well. I mean, when they're getting deployed all over, especially if they have to go away for a year or so. And then sometimes if the family themselves have to go away, they, a lot of moves throughout their career. So thank you again for this, and we'll get back to the meeting. Thanks. Okay, so next we're going to do the conflict of interest statement. This is where I'll ask if any member of the city council, city manager, any member of city staff has any known conflict of interest on any item on the agenda.
None.
None.
None for me.
None.
Okay. And now we're going to go to public participation. This is where any member of the public can speak to council up to 2 times during the council meeting for a total of 7 minutes, but that's usually reserved to 3 minutes each for public participation. And I usually start on my left. Usually start on the first or second row. So I'll go to the second row. If you just come forward, state your name, please. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. I timed it, but it may be 3 minutes and 20 seconds. First of all, I want to thank you for
Can you
supporting.
state your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Kathy Stark, and I'm with the TNR Subcommittee. I want to thank you for supporting TNR within the city this year. Before the animal ordinance, including TNR, came before you, the TNR Subcommittee came together to prepare answers to all the questions that you had asked during the previous work sessions and the council meeting on the resolution supporting TNR. We recognize the challenges at animal control and at the ASCMV, including their staff shortages and the time that was going to be needed to complete the steps for implementation. We offered assistance to both entities and they welcomed that offer. Well, I'm sure if you talk to them, they will tell you there were times when we got on their nerves where we tried to get them to either meet with us or review drafts so that we could reach consensus. We spent hours reviewing best practices and building that consensus. On August 16th, Chapter 7 of the City Ordinance, which includes TNR, came before you, albeit with errors and contradictions, but that's for another day. You passed that ordinance, and we appreciate that. The subcommittee was at that meeting, prepared to answer the questions that you had posed previously. There were no questions. There was no accompanying budget resolution to fund the program, and there was no forward-looking effective date, so in accordance with the city charter, the ordinance, including TNR, became effective on August 27th. While the policies to govern that program are due to come before the council within 120 days after adoption, which is December 14th. I have to question whether or not, as a city administration, anybody asked themselves what needed to happen after adoption with such a short time frame. To our knowledge, no staff person's been assigned to be responsible to submit resolutions for your consideration or take the other steps. When the ordinance went into effect, I can tell you the misinformation and criticism on social media of the city was just rampant. And the subcommittee tried to address that with what we knew about the ordinance. On Monday following adoption of the ordinance, the ASCMV staff arrived to find a hallway full of trapped cats for TNR. And in the first 2 days, they did surgery on 31 cats. With one staff veterinarian, the subcommittee has determined that 1 day a week could be used for TNR and that 30 cats could be done in that day. As of 10/6, 272 cats and kittens have gone through the ASCMV for spay and neuter. From October 7th to the 13th, an additional 93 came in. And I looked at the stats this morning, another 55 have come in since Thursday. May I finish? I just got a couple more.
Sure, go ahead.
On one hand, that's good news. If half of these are females, that means over 1,500 kittens will not be born. On the other hand, without policies and a budget, this is not sustainable. The goal for spay and neuter surgeries for the year was 1,500 based on 1 day a week, 30 in that day at the ASCMV. At the current rate of intake, over 2,000 cats will come in for spay and neuter at a cost of $127,936, and I can tell you from looking at the daily stats that is trending upward. It's time for the finalized documents to come before you for your consideration. We need policies in place and we need a budget in order to continue. While I know you don't respond to questions during public participation, I will leave you with this question. Who's going to be responsible to bring that forward? And when can it be brought forward? Because this is not the way to start a new program that has overwhelming, as we can see by the numbers, support. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for that information. If you'll leave that with the city clerk, we'd appreciate that. Okay, so that was the second row. Anyone on the third row? Fourth, fifth row, staff? Six, Mr. Jeffers?
Hello, my name is Vincent Jeffers. Again, there's another police shooting. I see it in the newspaper, and to me, it's another double score and a half. Again, whether the person raped someone or didn't, was convicted or didn't, the way in which that was handled, it has to be handled better. For all I know, that person could have not ever committed a crime, been convicted, and the police officer said, come here, we'll help you straighten this out, and give them another identity. That stuff's happened in the past illegally without people's consent, but hey, it's how it's done. It's not a catch-22 when you have an imbalance of power. There's just too many things in one's favor, too heavily. It's how we do it. It's constantly being said by the organization, and the individual is the one being harmed. If somebody says they don't want to purchase a property, and then another entity, the city, it doesn't matter what you want, it's how we do it. If one person's being harmed, or one group of people is being harmed, and the other's using taxpayers' dollars to inflict that harm, I cannot possibly, to me, see it being a catch-22. Again, if they're saying, no, you can't change my name, no, I don't want to buy the property, no, I don't want to acquire it in any way, and the other one's saying, we have a special prosecutor, we have a special paymaster, and it is how it gets done. So the other point I wanted to make was the title insurance on the property from a couple weeks ago, the $1.3 million that you purchased a building a while back. Who did the title insurance on that? For the city manager to know that there's been a track record on behalf of the city where not everything in real estate's been done on the up and up. And there were some people that came in to help. Here's a title insurance company. And they didn't really utilize the resources. The same thing could be said for the Rio Grande Theater, Animal Services Center property, the property on Valley Drive next to the fire station. It's just, I think it's fair to say, who's handling the title insurance on these properties where you have nonprofits just giving property, or doctors who are hurting people intentionally on bequest of the city, benefiting from that? Thanks.
Okay, that was the 6th row. Anyone on the 7th row? 8th row? 9th? Anyone else? Yes, you want to come forward?
Is it 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Rudy Ray Aragon Sr. Being now I have a 28-year-old son, and I don't want his daddy's reflections reflecting bad about negativity on him, being how he's in law enforcement in San Antonio. But I would like to say a couple things about this council that I am pretty impressed with lately. $3.75 million. That's pretty good. Out of $11 million fund that makes us money every year on interest and all kinds of stuff. It was a pretty good investment, that hospital. It's a good thing we purchased it. But the reason why that's such a big thing is because, coming around, I appreciate you worrying about the homeless people in this community finally, sir. I saw that your little thing on the internet. And I was also concerned, I went back over there because I also go to those areas a lot as I use as a walking path, because I used to be embarrassed that people seeing me fall when I tripped after recovering from my strokes. But I also noticed some trees chopped down over there, and big old signs, no trespassing and stuff. But I don't know exactly what the plan was to sit there and to go to these homeless people's spots just to chop down our trees. I mean, yeah, if they're not supposed to be there, by all means. But let's not chop down our trees. Trees take a long time to grow, and they have long roots. But I also was coming with concerns about the IPA request and stuff with this city. Failure to being able to fill IPA requests. And the HIPAA request is a pretty important issue in this thing. The HIPAA request shows more transparency than any other document that you could actually have in this land of freedom that we call freedom. But I was very disappointed to see those trees chopped down over there. There's no need to chop down our trees. I know they're on private property, but those trees have been there for a long time, and we chopped them down. I mean, I took pictures of them. They were live. But not all of us are woodmen. But on the last end note, I don't understand why this city can't fill 2 HIPAA requests of tort claims that I filed with this city from 2 years ago, when I got a copy of myself stamped. And I went to the Attorney General and I filed and stuff, but where's all the transparency? Where are these tort claims? How am I supposed to file and keep moving forward? But on the good hand, 3.9 is pretty good for the homeless people. I know because I myself get food from that food bank. But thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Rudy Ray. Anyone else on the last row? So no one else on my right, on my left. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my right. Mr. Fuller, you got 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. My heart goes out to Colonel Colin Powell, to his family, and everybody's friend. My prayers go out.
Excuse me, Mr. Fuller, I'm sorry for interrupting. Can you state your name, please?
I'm sorry, sir.
Can you state your name, please?
Oh, yes. Harold Fuller. Yes. And I would like to move on to, I'm here to bring out the awareness for 8 billion people that are tremendously endangered by our collapsed orbit of our Earth and the straight line effect where we almost become an asteroid 3 times a year. Now, we have engineering, and it will take no money from the city to help us out with a little collateral for 30 days to rectify our Earth's return of our axis. The Department of Paleontology states that Earth is at the end of its life cycle by bombing. The Pentagon, Doomsday Group are doing most of the bombing. I have this firsthand from an employee. If we speak out to the National Guard, every individual, to shut this group down, we'll all appreciate it. Our Department of NASA states in NASA Earth's orbit states our collapsed orbit and the straight line effect. And our paleontology states, as I said, we're at the end of our life cycle. We have the Navy came out and said that our axis tilting is unsustainable. EPA has made a statement. 4 of our government officials have brought this to awareness. You can see yourself, the sunrise does not pop up in the east. It comes in an hour early from the north going south and vice versa at sunset equally. Our polar caps have totally melted. You can verify this by NASA stating that we are 3 million miles closer to the sun. The polar caps melting, 3 million miles to the sun, they all relate.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Your time is up.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, so that was the first row. Anyone on the second row? Third row? Fourth? Fifth? Sixth? Seventh? Eighth? Looks like it's all staff and one reporter. Okay, so no one on my right. All right, that concludes public participation. Now we're going to go to acceptance of the agenda. Need a motion, a second?
So moved. Second by Flores.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gondara, second by Councilor Flores to accept the agenda as presented. Christine?
This is on the motion to accept the agenda as presented. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo? Yes. Councilor Sork?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondara?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, so first item is 7.1, Resolution 22-046.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made by Councilor Sorg, second by Councilor Vasquez. It looks like Matt Sines will be presenting and David Cedillo. Backup.
So good afternoon, Mayor, members of Council, Administration. For the record, my name is Matthew Sines, Interim Chief Budget Officer with the City of Las Cruces. The resolution before you is to accept various budget adjustments for various departments for the month of October. So with these adjustments, there are no new programs or policy initiatives. The adjustments are focused on compliance and alignment. And with me today, I have Public Works Director, Mr. David Cedillo. He will be discussing the adjustments as they relate to the capital improvement program. As always, we are striving to apply best practice. Just as a friendly reminder, the amounts that we are requesting today are located in the column with yellow text. Also, we're letting you know what type of transaction we are processing with the letter that follows the amount. The meanings for those letters can be found at the bottom of our screen. So E is for expense, R is for revenue, and T is for transfer. So let's go ahead and get started. So in the general fund, finance is requesting an adjustment to revenues of $22,000 to adjust for auction sales. They're also requesting an adjustment to expenditures of $2,795 for program expenses. Fund 2403, we are transferring $26 in investment income back to the general fund to close out the seized assets fund, which is Fund 2403. Fund 2100, Fire, is adjusting their revenues and expenditures by about $41,000 to adjust their grants to actuals. They're going to increase their SAFER grant by $99,000 and also decrease their CARE grant by $58,000. Again, this is a reconciliation for their grants. Fund 2171, Quality of Life, is requesting just about $69,000 as a carryover for their New Mexico CARES Act funding. Moving on to Fund 2303, Fire is reducing revenues and expenditures by $5,547 to adjust their EMS state allotment to actuals. Fund 4100, also Fire, we're adjusting their legislative funding to actuals for their 2020 legislative funding for equipment by reducing revenues of $151,000 that were received in the previous fiscal year, also reducing expenditures of $78,000 as a reconciliation. Lastly, we have Fund 5920, Transit. We have a few adjustments for them. First of all, they want to adjust their grants to actuals by increasing revenues to $1. They're also closing out their CARES Act funding by adjusting their revenues and expenditures by reducing that amount to $172, and also requesting additional funding of $96,000 for repairs from storm damage to their Hadley facility. So the overall net adjustment for today is a decrease of $172,000 in revenues and a decrease in expenditures of $76,000. So with that, I want to thank you all for your time. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. David Cedillo to discuss the CIP. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. David Cedillo, Public Works Director, and I'll be going over the CIP amendments with you. The first two projects that we have are the Brown Farm ponding improvements and the East Mesa Rec Complex roads. We're moving $150,000 from the Brown Farm ponding project over to the East Mesa recreational complex. This is an amendment to the CIP as the funding is within the same source of the budget for those two projects. Next, we have the general facilities improvements. We're adding additional improvements to the CIP reflecting the work being done in the city manager's office. Next, we have the fire station equipment, which Mr. Sines just went over, and they're bringing those budget to actuals in the CIP. Lastly, we have the transit facilities improvement program. And again, as Mr. Sines mentioned, transit is getting those funds over for the Hadley repairs. With that, both Mr. Sines and I are available for any questions that council may have.
Thanks, David. Any questions? Seeing no questions? Seeing no questions? Councilor Flores, just kidding. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Cedillo and Mr. Sines. Mr. Cedillo, on slide 5, you show that there are funds for the Brown Farm ponding and the East Mesa Recreation Complex roads. So when you're doing this budget adjustment, where is it being adjusted from? I mean, why the adjustment?
Mayor, Councilor Flores, I'm sorry for the typo. That should be a CIP amendment.
Oh.
I apologize for its stating budget amendment. It's a CIP amendment. Since the funding is within the same fund, the reflection on the CIP is that we're moving from one project to the other.
Okay.
Within the same fund.
And those, the capital improvement projects funds are not part of the GO bond?
These funds for these projects are not part of the GO bond.
Great.
No, ma'am.
Okay, just wanted a clarification. Thank you very much, Mr. Cedillo. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anybody else? Councilor Sword?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Presidio and Matt. No. So you're using this money to build this road to the street to the East Mesa Recreation Complex. That road, is it finished, built now, or is there more work to be done on it? Because I saw it started some time ago.
Mayor, Councilor Sorg, the funds that are being transferred over are for the secondary access off of Sonora Springs Avenue. The improvements to Camino Coyote, as you mentioned,
Say the name again, please.
Sonora Springs Avenue.
Sonora Springs Avenue, okay. Okay, besides what's the name of the street that goes past this police station?
Camino Coyote.
Okay, yeah, some new names we have to learn. Okay, thank you very much.
You're
Thank you, Mayor.
I think that street's been there, that's in the District 6, isn't it?
Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, it's been there for, you're not in the microphone. Did you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Isn't that Camino Coyote is the one that, once you cross Sonoma Ranch Boulevard, that's Sonora Springs also, Sonoma Springs Road? Isn't that the same road when you cross over?
Mayor, Councilor Flores, I'll let Tony Trevino. He corrected me on the name, but I'll go ahead and let him speak. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilor Flores, Councilor Sorg. Yes, there's so many Sonomas out there, but the primary access for the East Mesa Sports Complex is Sonoma Springs, from Sonoma Ranch Boulevard east to the complex. Sonora Springs is further north on the other side of the arroyo that you're thinking about.
Okay, and then Camino Coyote is the one right next to the complex?
That is the one
That's just north, immediately north?
Yes, ma'am, that extends right through the East Mesa Safety Complex.
Then it goes around back behind the complex, and then is that where it hooks up to Sonora Springs as it extends east on Sonoma Ranch Boulevard?
Yes, ma'am, you are correct.
Okay, so the name does change there?
It does. It'll all change there at the complex.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, Mayor? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Sorg, did you have any further questions? Councilor Sorg.
I'm sorry, no, I didn't mean to imply that I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? How about members of the public? Seeing none, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-046. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Sorg?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gonda?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, so now we're at 7.2, Resolution 22-047. Need a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Sorg, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Gonda and Sherrell de la Cruz. Is that how you say it, Sherrell?
Yes, yes, Mayor, thank you. So greetings, Mayor, council members, Sherrell de la Cruz, budget analyst. The resolution before you today is to accept 2 federal grants, 3 grant modifications, and 2 capital outlay grants. The city's IT department has received legislative appropriation funds of $464,000 to update the public safety regional communication system in Las Cruces. Funds will be used to purchase and install P25 compliant radios for both fire and police departments, and to make improvements to the A Mountain transmission station. Fire has received the federal fiscal year 2020 AFG Fire Prevention and Safety Grant for $46,076. These funds will be utilized to conduct home safety inspections, install smoke alarms, and provide fire prevention and safety education to low-income households at high risk for fires. There is a match of $2,303, which will come from Fire's general funds. High-intense drug trafficking area, HIDA, would like to modify their federal fiscal year 20 grant amendment and decrease it by $4,987, bringing the new grand total to $1,242,100. HIDA would also like to make 2 more modifications to their federal fiscal year 21 grant for an increase of $261,300 and $30,116, bringing that new grant amount to $1,302,990. Community Development has been awarded annual federal funding from the New Mexico Department of Transportation through the Federal Transit Administration, FTA, 5303 planning funding for $79,158. This is for multi-model planning operations, expenses for the Mesilla Valley Metropolitan Planning Organization, MVMPO. The match of $19,790 will be provided through the revenue collected by MPO from the town of Mesilla and Doña Ana County. Airport has received funding of $400,000 from New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, DFA. This is 2021 state legislative capital outlay funding to plan, design, construct, renovate, furnish, equip, and install improvements for a terminal building, including infrastructure, landscape, and parking at Las Cruces International Airport. And that shall do it for this month. Here are your council options. I do have Madeline Shea from Grants and also representatives from each of the departments available for questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, members of the public? Seeing none, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-047. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Sorg?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gonda?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Next one is 7.3, Resolution 22-048.
Bring it. Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Sorg, second by Councilor Bencomo, and Mr. Raymond Birchfield will be discussing. they're really giddy because they have a chance to break the record by finishing before 3 o'clock today, so they're just...
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Raymond Birchfield from Housing and Neighborhood Services. Before you, we have a resolution to approve a community development block grant agreement between the city and the Mesilla Valley Community of Hope for the Access Improvement Project. Mesilla Valley Community Hope operates the Homeless Services Center, as we know. Their existing doors are a constant maintenance issue. They would like to replace 3 existing doors with key card access doors and provide a new access point to the backside of the resource room where there currently is not one. Funding for this grant was approved through Resolution 21-205, which approved the Action Plan 21 for the city, which appropriates our HUD funding. And these funds will provide for the purchase of the doors and a new access point to the resource room. And it'll be a $20,000 grant. We require a 50% match so that our funds are no more than 50% of their project budget. And these funds will help improve access and security at the Homeless Services Center. And
those are council options. So, you know, I thought I saw Nicole back there, but I wasn't too sure, so now I know why she's here. Questions from council? Members of the public? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-048. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Soar?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, thanks, Raymond. Next item, 7.4, Resolution 22-049.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Sorg, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta, and Ceci Vasconcelos will be presenting.
Ceci. Okay. Great. Good afternoon. My name is Ceci Vasconcelos. I'm the Art Program Coordinator in the Quality of Life Department, and I'm here today to present the art concept recommendation for the new Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. We are asking for Council's approval of the resolution and the art concept for installation as a public art piece. The city, excuse me, the City Art Board released a call for artists for a freestanding public art sculpture for the new Animal Services Center in early 2021. An art selection committee was designated for the project, and they reviewed the 139 submissions that were received. 3 top finalists were chosen and invited to present their proposals to the committee. The presentations took place at a public meeting held at City Hall in July 2021. This map shows you where the art location will be, which is the highlighted little tiny dot there you see. The committee scored each artist based on project criteria. The call for artists stated that the piece should serve as a beacon and needed to be visible from Rinconada Boulevard, Baton Memorial West, and Highway 70. It also asked that the art piece reflect the services of the center and engage the community and Animal Services Center staff. All 3 concept proposals were well presented, and 2 of the designs scored within a few points of each other. The design proposal created by artist Vito DeBari scored highest. The City Art Board approved the design recommendation for presenting to City Council, and we also presented the design to the Quality of Life Policy Review Committee and the Animal Services Center Board with positive feedback from both. Mr. DeBari's design concept is titled Sun Shelter. The artist was inspired by the Animal Services Center logo, using the same color palette that brands the center, and the cutouts are influenced by elements found on the center's website. The artist statement reads, "My installation features a representation of a cat and dog, beloved domestic pets, and two of the primary animals cared for by the ASCMV. The 9-foot-tall sculpture sees the two animals side by side, looking lovingly towards each other, radiating an energy of warmth and companionship. Directly behind them is the silhouette of a sun with a cutout depicting a majestic bird flying overhead. The sculpture will be large enough to be an iconic focal point visible from multiple angles, as it is meant to be a beacon to the public. The symbolic elements, such as the sun, which is an emblem of protection that shines bright upon the animals, embody values of humane animal care and promote responsible pet ownership." Vito DeBari. The sculpture is 9 feet tall by 7 feet wide and has both front and back views. The silhouettes of the two people standing there show scale, size of the sculpture to a real person. The sculpture is made from powder-coated steel with laser cut patterns. If you look closely, you'll see the laser cuts are cats, dogs, bones, fish, and other patterns. This design concept is for a single sheet of steel anchored to a cement base at ground level. Recommendations from the Art Selection Committee are: number 1, modify the single steel sheet design to a layered concept to add stability against the wind load. They felt that the cutouts would not be enough to withstand the wind, especially in that location. And number 2, add lighting to the design so it can be seen at night. The artist did not include it because he thought ambient lighting would be enough, and it might be. It remains to be seen. That is my presentation, and these are your options, and I will stand by for questions.
Okay, great. It looks really nice. So,
thank you.
Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ceci. So is there going to be lighting if the ambient lighting isn't enough?
Mayor and council, yes, we will look at the design, and once the artist comes out and looks at the site and finalizes that design, we'll decide if we need additional lighting for the piece.
Was that allocated?
It would come out of, it would not be part of the budget for the piece. It would come out of our budget.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? About members of the public? Okay. Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-049. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Sorg?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, so that takes care of those resolutions. So board appointments to the Redistricting Ad Hoc Committee, Francis Lerner, District 5 appointment. So next we've got the Downtown Parking Committee, Karen Bradshaw, Farmers and Crafts Market Representative. I'll need a motion and a second.
So moved.
So moved. Oh, did you say so moved? Second. I thought you said sauna for some reason.
Okay, so motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta, second by Councilor Vasquez to appoint Karen Bradshaw, Farmers and Crafts Market Representative. Christine?
This is on the motion to appoint Karen Bradshaw to the Downtown Parking Committee. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
No.
Councilor Sorg?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
No.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, to the Las Cruces Utilities Board of Commissioners, appointing Raymond Leonard Hickman. Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Flores, second by Councilor Sorg. Christine?
This is on the motion to appoint Raymond Leonard Hickman to the Utilities Board. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Sorg?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondara?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, there are no proposed ordinances. So now we go to member board reports and comment. So the other day, we had IFO and I and members of the community development team. I think Larry was there, David, Catherine, I think was also there. And I can't remember if Natalie was there. Anyway, so we wanted to form a ad hoc committee to start working on some of the issues regarding Elevate Las Cruces and how that will affect the construction industry, builders, contractors, and such. And so we wanted to form a ad hoc committee, but I appreciate IFO wanting to make sure it was as inclusive as possible. So if we do the ad hoc, then perhaps if you all have someone that you would like to appoint from your districts to join this group, and it'll just last probably for, I don't know, a few months, just so that they can work closely with administration, specifically community development. So if maybe if you're okay with that, then you'll see that in the coming weeks, that we'll put a resolution out there, so we'll form an ad hoc committee on construction trades. Okay? So if you want to start thinking in your head who you want to appoint to that. All right. That's all I have. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this weekend was a really busy weekend for me and for District 1. We had the Pachanga at Klein Park. I went and read the proclamation and said a few words, and it's just was bigger and better. It was nice to see our community come together. They're sort of outgrowing Klein Park. I think there are plans to extend it into the plaza next year, continue at Klein Park, but extend it into the plaza. But it was a beautiful experience celebrating Mexican culture. I was unable to be there for a great amount of time as my cousin was getting married in El Paso. But I saw the pictures and heard lots of really positive things. So a special thanks to Alicia Jameson and the committee, Victor Gallegos. They did a fabulous job. And then we opened up a pharmacy in our area in District 1 on the south side of the downtown. And I went early enough to be able to take a tour. It's a pharmacy, like a drugstore, like you would see over-the-counter medication. They have some toiletries and some snacks, those kinds of things. And I met 2 out of the 3 owners. And so please remember them for all of your prescription drug needs. It's located south on the downtown at the end by Catty Corner to visit Las Cruces. Yeah. Orange is October is National Anti-Bullying Month. And so wear your orange this week. That orange has been identified as the color for Anti-Bullying Month. So please remember, you know, how important it is in our community to fight bullying. I think, you know, our children and our students and adults, and I know Councilor Bencomo and I will be saying a few words at La Casa's candlelight vigil on Thursday evening. You know, I believe that bullying sometimes obviously starts, in the home, where we're seeing violence and lots of different things in the home trauma. And so we all have to be educated on it. And so next, special thanks to David Weir and Larry Nichols and EFO for coming and helping to put a meeting together for my country club folks on behalf of the work that is possibly going to be done in the Apodaca, in the Apodaca area. I think the folks really appreciated you being there, EFO and David. I don't know that I see him in the audience. And it was sort of a quick turnaround before I left for a week. But I think it was nice to sort of get a history shared with you, EFO, and a perspective of a few neighbors in the community. Special thanks to Councilor Flores, she attended. I think our neighbors were very appreciative of seeing you there and understanding, from your perspective, what you were trying to get across. And so we came up with some great ideas to expand the reach in terms of communicating with a lot of the neighbors so that they're aware. I look forward to hearing more coming to planning and zoning. It looks like at the end of the month, they will be coming, they meaning why am I spacing the name of the group, but sorry about that. They'll be coming at the end of the month, presenting a plan to planning and zoning in terms of development there in that area. So stay tuned. And then I met with Chris Fair. I meet with him every month for our downtown updates. And special thanks to I see Chief Dominguez out in the audience. Thank you for bringing our police officers together and doing some special projects, providing some insight and just not only the insight, but the oversight, if you will, in that area. And I think it's proven to be real positive, especially for the businesses there, having police presence there. I think all of it, or at least I have been hearing, speeding and noise and there in and around that area. And I know our constituents are appreciative of that. There's lots happening as it relates to updates specific to the downtown. I think we're probably going to have a meeting soon at the end of the month, and we will be seeing some budget adjustments for the priorities that we have identified specific to the area. Let's see. Looking. One thing that I wanted to bring up, EFO, and I'd like to get your take on this. Through the ACD, we've been working on the wayfinding signs and lighting. And there's some discrepancy, maybe a hiccup related to the wayfinding signs specific to lighting and a solar panel. I think there's maybe some issues with like who will pay for the energy, right? Because it'll need some lighting, and I think it doesn't feel like that should be a sticking point, because we want for people to see the beautiful wayfinding sign. I think that the consultants have put together the design, and I feel like for many reasons we should pay for the lighting, and because for safety, and to really direct people into it, sort of a welcoming in and out of our beautiful downtown. So I'd like to just sort of give you that input. I think that's it. It's sort of extending the time there in terms of sort of the debate, and I don't know where the sticking point is if it's on our end, El Paso Electric, but I thought I'd take an opportunity to bring that up today. see. I think that there's a ton of work being done, as you can see. Mateo's is now in that general area. Really excited to see our farmers market just really exploding as lots of people. I was there Saturday, and we lost our executive director, coordinator there, and I don't know where we're at in terms of, or they are at in terms of hiring the next person. But I think it's an exciting time, IFO, to work on possibly a Sunday market as well. A lot of us have talked about in the area. Gil, you had brought it up. Councilor Sorg, you had brought it up with Tiffany. Like, would love to see an evening market on Wednesdays, yes, but we also, I think there's some room for a Sunday market. I know there's a long list of vendors who would like to get into the market, and so maybe we might explore with Chris and others how we might make that happen. And I think those are all sort of the major issues surrounding the downtown. There's some discussion about how to proceed with the Plaza Shade structure. And I've just encouraged Chris to be as explicit as he can in terms of talking about the history and all the work that staff has done to get us to this point, and to make sure that our Arts and Cultural District is a part of that decision-making process moving forward, because we've identified some money, right, to make that happen. So at least I think so with Mayor's work and such. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Before I get to Councilor Flores, just so you know what the Mayor Pro Tem is talking about, for those who lived here, there was a long time, probably the largest insurance agency called Grindell and Rollins. And then it became Grindell and Romero. So that's where that pharmacy's at. So it's right there at the end of the downtown area. So it's a pretty good sized location. So, yeah. Okay, Councilor Flores.
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Did you say you didn't have anything to say? Councilor Sorg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I appreciate the comment on evening farmers markets. I had a vision that the farmers that bring produce to the farmers market might appreciate harvesting it all day long and selling it that evening, instead of either getting up real early in the morning or the next day before. Okay, I have a request. This deals with the tree planting in the city. I just don't know where we are with our tree planting, what we have plans for tree planting. I would like to have a report given to the council as to how many trees we're planting, even where they're being planted. And so I have said oftentimes, and this is part of, what would it be, Public Works, would it be some other, that trees planted along streets does calm traffic. And there's lots of streets that could use a little traffic calming. We need to do other things too, but that is one thing that I think would be a win-win. Obviously, it's going to help with our climate change a little bit, but also it will help with making our city look a little better. I feel we are way behind on our tree planting in this city that we said many years ago we wanted to be Tree City USA, and I don't think we're doing enough there. And then I want to make a comment, several comments, not for the city council, but for the public. And it has to do with our COVID-19 and our COVID-19 vaccinations. We've all been getting emails from people that say they refuse to be vaccinated. You see it all over the nation. It's happened, it's true here in Las Cruces too. And people need to know that the boosters for all 3 vaccines are approved and available now. Maybe not everywhere, but it will be soon. you should be able to get a Pfizer, a Moderna, and a J&J vaccine booster. And just so you know, it's also approved to mix them up. The J&J works a little different than the Pfizer and the Moderna. It isn't exactly the same method of getting you protection for COVID-19. And to mix them up actually gives you a little slight increase in protection. And I want to point out that these boosters are so necessary for the longer-term protection for this whole pandemic. You got to understand that vaccinated people, because although it's not 100% effective, but it's extremely more effective than not having a vaccine. And there are breakthroughs, granted, but they're much less severe, much less hospitalization, much less needing an ICU, and almost no deaths with the vaccine. And I got my own son to prove that. He's fully vaccinated. He did get COVID positive test. He felt body aches. He got chills, I think it was, but just those two things. And after 2 or 3 days, it was over. That's typical for a vaccinated person. But most important than anything else, that the more people are vaccinated and the less virus we have in the population, the fewer cases that we have, this allows us to have fewer mutants of the virus and fewer variants. Because the more they reproduce, the more chance they will have a mutant and a variant. So it's our path. Vaccination is definitely our path and only path to ending this pandemic. And I know we all want it to be ended. I want to address misconceptions and actual lies about the pandemic and the vaccines. They're loaded on the internet. I've been getting emails with countless number of pages on the internet that tell lies about the virus and about the vaccinations. For example, I was just told this weekend, or actually last week, by a couple that vaccines are produced from the embryos of humans. Nothing could be further from the truth, but this is something they're getting off the internet. So, and in the case of these other treatments like hydroxychloroquine, vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, and something I can't even pronounce, as well as ivermectin, are not treatments for COVID-19. I used ivermectin on many a cattle and many a horses when I was on the farm and ranch. That's what that's for, not for humans, in this case anyway. So I think what we need to do is kind of say this over and over and over again to try to dispel the myths, the misconceptions, and actually the lies of the whole pandemic, of COVID-19, and the vaccines. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Bencomo?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything, but thank you, Councilor Sorg, for those statements.
Councilor Vasquez?
I don't have anything either, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilor Abeyta-Stuve, you want to make it 3 in a row? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it's just messing with you.
Usually I don't have the most to say, but I do need to give a special thank you to city staff. Not this weekend, but the weekend before, I did have my district fiesta / constituent meeting, and I want to thank Jamie Rickman, Carla Walton, and all the different departments that were able to come out to Tony Gomez Park and meet with the community. We had LCPD, museums, senior programs, Parks and Rec, utilities. I'm very sorry if I've missed anybody else, but it was wonderful. I got some really great feedback from residents over there, and I want to say that it was very important, I think, for us to be in this particular spot. I had a couple that have lived in the area, they said 25 years, and this was the first time that they saw programming like this in that time. And so it was really great to see, and we hope to make it a yearly event. And I'll make it very short, so there it is. So thank you, Mayor.
I was just kidding. You can go on for your 30 minutes. I'm just
Nobody
kidding.
wants to
I'm
hear
just
that.
joking. I'm just messing with you.
Mayor, can I just say one
Yes,
thing?
of course.
Gabe and Councilor Vasquez and I have been receiving some emails and different things on an uptick in property crime on and around the Med Park area off of El Paseo. Ms. Terry Perry has reached out to us, and I saw a Facebook account with some really serious property damage to agency vehicles. It's not the first time. It seems to be a consistent thing that's happening in that area. And not quite sure. I know we have talked about putting a meeting together to address this, but I was hoping, Mr. Peely, that we would work on maybe some special projects and getting the camera out there. Maybe that might help. I just know that with the work that the special committee did on the El Paseo corridor, it's something that really needs to happen in order to entice and incentivize new businesses to come to that area. So we really need to get a handle on that, and I'm hoping that we can make some headway with that this week. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Ifo, City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll begin with our work session for police updates will be I believe the first work session in November scheduled. Police will be bringing updates on crime, just so they can see, all the questions that's been asked. So they'll have an update. So just wanted to throw that out. If there's anything else that you'd like to bring, like us to report on, there's some projects and some things in the works, such as the speed mans and that they'll be presenting on in that first work session in November. Just today, after our discussion about just talking about budget, they'll probably share two for the public's, for the sake of the public. The amount of money that we've been spending on police, that we have not defunded police, we have not dropped down in budget, but in some areas we've actually increased. And so we can also provide some information at that work session as well. But we'll be presenting data that council has asked for, but Chief and his team will be preparing that, and that'll be scheduled. Along with that, he'll give an update, but just to give you all an update, the interviews for the community advocates are in process right now, and so there should be some hires soon. 2 social workers that will be hired pretty soon, but they're in interviews as we speak. We had a recognition for our Veterans Parade and Veterans Month. This is from Transit. Mr. Enriquez let me know that Transit will be displaying bus wraps honoring our veterans now and for the month of November. And by thanking our veterans for their service, and these bus wraps will include our local veterans, pictures of our local veterans. So if you see the buses going by with that, that's what it is, and it's to honor our veterans for this month.
Eva, will there be the poster?
I'm sorry?
Will there be the poster of the young lady that won? Are we going to have additional posters or something like that on a wrap?
Mr. Rodriguez, I think he's shaking his head no. Just the bus wraps. Okay. Let's see. And then appreciate the team with Amy and Larry and her team. As you know, we've kicked off the legislative priorities. Her team has met with you, and we'll be bringing all the legislative priorities after we've kind of narrowed it down, and I believe in November. Second work session in November. Will be coming to council. Along with that will be the reauthorizations, including the reauthorization of the proposed reauthorization of the parking garage money to shade structures in downtown. I know that was brought up in a meeting here. I believe that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Sifo. If there's nothing further, then entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Sorek, second by Councilor Abeyta-Stuve. Christine?
This is on the motion to adjourn the regular meeting. Councilor Abeyta-Stuve?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bancomo?
Yes.
Councilor Sorek?
Yes.
Councilor
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gandara?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, we're adjourned. It's 2:35 p.m. and new record, hour and 35 minutes for a full city council meeting. That's pretty good. Okay.